For as long as I can remember, I've been tagging along on my father's adventures. This footage you're seeing right now is from our very first black grouse lek back in 1994. I was 11 years old, way before holding my first camera. Still early one morning we drove out to watch and document the display. And when I say watch, I mean he did most of the watching. Myself, I could barely keep my eyes open. But even so, my father and my mother for that matter, kept taking me along on their hikes. There was always a new project, a new adventure, a new discovery. From tiring treks across Jotunheimen to waterfall scouting in my favorite valley 𝐂𝐴𝐻𝐿, where I've since spent so many nights, we just kept on going, with our eyes on the horizon. All these hikes helped sow the seed for my appreciation of spending time out in the wilds. It lit a spark, and it has shaped me into the person I am today. And some things never change, and my father is a prime example of that. He never lost that sense of adventure, and he has always kept his eyes on the horizon. And even though he might say that he is joining me now on my hikes, it still feels like I sometimes are still joining him. And this particular story is all his. He wanted to trek Norway's highest mountain, and I wanted to join him. And the only thing that has changed is that he is not doing the vlogging anymore. That torch has been passed on to me.
Du på toppen av verden, rett og slett.
The drive up to Juvasshytta, our starting point for this hike, takes about 8.5 hours by car, and it takes us through some spectacular scenery. Galdhøpiggen, Norway's highest peak, is located in the mountain region known as Jotunheimen, and I have been there a couple of times before, so if you're familiar with my channel, you might get to see some familiar places. As always, I was constantly taking mental notes during the road trip on which places that might be worth a visit in the near future. It turns out there is quite a lot. A lifetime of hiking if I want to. I saw plenty powerful waterfalls I haven't visited yet. Running waters, anyone? And the mountains. Don't get me started on the mountains. As I'm typing this intro, I just want to get back to those mountains. But the point I'm trying to make here is that by traveling like this, you get a lot of time to think about what lies ahead. The anticipation starts building up and you form images in your head of how you think it's going to be, what you're going to see and experience. But these things seldom turns out the way you plan. And that's the beauty of it. That is why it never gets old and why it is as exciting now as it was 27 years ago. Well, Owen, father. Nei. Well, 8 hours in the car and we're finally here. Juvasshytta. What do you say?
We decided this morning.
Yes, this
at
morning.
8 o'clock. That
he texted me 8 o'clock this morning. It's a short window with nice weather. Oh, you're up for it.
he was up for it, and we decided to pack our bags. 8 hours in the car, one stop for 10 minutes.
And we made the dinner at this cabin with 1 minute to spare, so perfect timing as always. Right now, Galdhøpiggen, which is the goal for this journey, it's covered in clouds, but the forecast looks very promising for tomorrow morning. And at 9 o'clock we're gonna meet up outside the cabin, and we're gonna meet up with the group we're going with.
And a guide.
And a guide. Because we're going across a glacier called 𝐔𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿, and for that we need a guide and we need to have harnesses, and yeah, so it's gonna be a different kind of video because I can't stop and film and document everything as I normally do, because I have to take into consideration that we're going as a group. So that will be different this time, but I think it's gonna be fantastic.
Well, I hope I can make it. I believe I can do it, but tomorrow we are going to work together with a lot of people, so you need to keep up the speed, or they have to wait for me. I don't know.
I think at least your adventure spirit is intact, so and I think it's going to be no problem. I think it's going to be fine. So welcome once again to Jotunheimen. I was there last year when I visited the glacier cave, and it's one of my favorite places here in Norway, so I'm pretty sure you can understand why. It's really beautiful up here, and tomorrow morning it's gonna be great. All right, have a good night. Oh no, we're gonna have a good night, so see you tomorrow morning. Good morning. As you probably can imagine, when we pulled the curtain this morning, we were pretty excited about how the forecast were going to be, and we may be a bit disappointed when at first glance, because the mountain is completely covered in fog, but experience tells us that this fog will evaporate as the sun climbs up and it gets gradually warmer. The fog is very thin. At some places you can see blue sky, so we really hope that we have chosen the most opportune time to do this, because when we check the forecast on our cell phones, it looks like it's going to be all sun and some clouds as the day progress. Dad, are you ready?
I'm not sure. I hope so.
As ready as you can be, I suppose.
I am very ready, and I look forward to this. It will be a very nice experience. I'm quite sure. I'm very optimistic now.